I've been doing this for 22 years. I have all different types of families in my daycare. I have some that comes in at 6 o'clock in the morning that works to 8:30 at night. I have some that comes from 3:30 to 12:30 at night. I have some that comes in overnight. I see a lot of parents come in and break down. They don't want to do this, but they need to work and take care of their family.
See you later. All right, baby, have a good day. Be careful.
This is the way the world is set up at this point.
Wow, that is a timely look at an issue a lot of parents are facing right now, childcare. It's something we depend on so we can go to work and support our family. Through the Night takes a closer look at 3 working mothers and the childcare they depend on in its screens next week during the Human Rights Watch Film Festival. And this morning, director and producer of Through the Night, Loira Limbal, joins us, along with senior researcher and advocate of poverty and inequality at Human Rights Watch, Lena Simet. Good morning to you, ladies. Thanks so much for being here for this important conversation.
Good morning.
Loida, let's start with you. You're a mom of 2. Is that what inspired Through the Night? Walk us through what was behind this effort.
Sure, my pleasure. Yes, I am a mother. I am also a single working mother, and certainly my own experiences along this journey were part of the motivation for making the film. But even more so, the motivation was connected to my own mother's experience of raising us. My mother worked the night shift while she raised. I'm the oldest of 4, and she raised us in New York City, working a low-wage job. And I recall just how difficult it was, for her to provide for us in all the many ways that she had to, given the lack of support that she had. And so when I first read the article that profiled these tots, the daycare featured in the film, it automatically brought me back to my childhood and really made me think of my mother and all the women in my community that I know are having to make impossible choices every day. And that was the motivation.
Does this also incorporate the additional struggles with that people are going through with COVID right now?
So the film was completely done before COVID.
Got it. Okay.
Which I think is important to say that before the crisis, there was a crisis.
Right. Right. It's even worse
for many people. Yes. And in this moment, so many more people are affected. And so, we are all of a sudden having this conversation because it's sort of, no one has gone untouched. But this really has been the reality for so many working class families and particularly communities of color for a really, really long time.
Right.
And so, yes, but in the COVID-19 context, I would say everyone in the film is an essential worker. And they have been quite literally on the front lines of the pandemic, working the whole time. Marisol, who is one of the mothers featured in the film, works for a supermarket supplier and has been working 6-7 days a week throughout the pandemic. Shanona is a pediatric ER nurse and has been working. And then Nuno and Patrick are among the few daycare providers that have not closed their doors precisely because they are caring for the children of essential working families.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I want to bring Lena into the conversation here. You work at Human Rights Watch. Who do you see needing the most help as far as child care shortcomings here? Is it the parents? Is it the child caregivers? Is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, because what we really see in the film in a very powerful way is, on the one side, the struggles of parents who work multiple jobs. Many of them are low paid and many of them don't have any benefits, right? And I think, for instance, the story of Marisol shows that the employer purposefully keeps her below a certain amount of hours so she doesn't get the benefits she needs. And so there needs to be a reform of the safety net, that every worker has access to these types of services in order to not exclude them from the system. But on the other side, we also see that caregivers, so child care workers, but in general care workers, are very low paid, and many of them cannot even afford childcare themselves, right? And I think that's in the story, in the film, it comes out very strongly that the reason why Nuno created the the 24-hour care center, is because she couldn't afford childcare for her own kids, right? So it really speaks to so many flaws of the safety net in this country, and also of the struggles of low-wage workers. So a reform of raising the minimum wage, which is now a huge discussion, is really on point.
Loira, what do you want people to walk away with, viewers to walk away with when they see this? Oh, looks like we lost Loira's audio there. Loira, if you can hear us, you're on mute. There you go.
Yes, I was on mute because my children are running around.
Okay, that's part of the struggle, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yes, yes. So yeah, when you say viewers, I immediately think about different communities. So I first think about the folks that are in the film themselves, the protagonists of the film, and their kind of peers and other community members. And for those communities, which I see myself as being a part of, particularly Black and Latino working class communities, I want viewers to hopefully see themselves and their everyday lives reflected with care, and to feel that, just to feel a sense of affirmation. And it's perhaps a bit cliche to say, but to sort of feel less alone. I think in many ways, particularly around mothering, there's so much guilt that we experience for so many different reasons, and shame. And I hope that for our communities, we can see the film and see that we are struggling and things are really difficult, but that's not due to any personal shortcomings.
Right.
It's actually due to structural inequality, right, and injustice. So that's, I hope that people feel affirmed, and that the film serves as a balm in some ways. And for other folks who, might not be so close to this universe or this reality, I do hope it serves as a wake-up call, again, to understand that in many ways, the crisis around COVID-19 in the United States is as bad as it is because everything that we had in place before was already so cruel and unsustainable.
Oh.
Had we had if we had a safety net in place, if we had a more equitable society, I think, the picture in the United States would look very different right now.
Through the night
and so in many ways, I think there's just no way forward. There is no recovery if we don't really kind of look at these issues and center the people that are most directly impacted by them.
Through the Night is one of the films, one of the stories being featured during the Human Rights Watch Film Festival. And we can learn more by going to hrwfilmfestivalstream.org. Ladies, thanks so much for joining us here this morning. We appreciate your time, and we wish you the best.
Thank you. Likewise.